Hey y'all, welcome back.
We wanted to, welcome. Happy Thursday.
Yes.
We wanted to just finish up the conversation with Pauline, and this time we get into Cheer Season 2, which is so exciting.
But we've been waiting for it.
I know. So fun having her here, and we're so excited. We hope you guys liked our Tuesday episode, and you guys like this one.
Definitely.
Yeah. So
right, let
us know what you think. All right, so what's your hot rapid fire thoughts of Cheer Season 2?
Oh, okay. So I kind of feel bad about, because Cheer Season 1 was all about cheerleading, right? It was about the sport, it was about the routine, it was about the, and then all of a sudden now, and all the younger kids could watch it, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They see it coming out. Now it's so many deep topics that, you thought you could watch Season 2 with your child, maybe, you know what I mean? Like your cheerleader. And then all of a sudden, right off the bat, they're introducing this, very dark topic. And so that makes me a little sad that, it's hard. Now, if my daughter or my son or whoever would watch it, I'd be like, oh my gosh, now I have to have this whole conversation. I mean, I guess it's good to have that conversation if they're of age. But if you're 6, 7, 8, of course you have to introduce it, but maybe not to this level.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yes, they had to address it. It was just bam, there it was, right in the beginning. So that's the part that I was thinking about, oh gosh, who's watching this? Half the time, Alex and me, I'll be on YouTube and I'm not watching every single thing they're watching,
Yeah. Right.
I can go back and look, but okay, Cheers out. Go ahead, you could go watch it on Netflix.
Yeah.
And then maybe you don't realize as a parent what they're talking about. Yeah. So then it's
oh my God, yeah, this season was heavy.
Yeah.
It was very heavy. But you know what, too? I feel like even with season 1, I didn't like this, that even the intro is very creepy carnival. Is it just me?
No, this year I was this is a little strange. Right. The music behind it. Yes. I'm who are these cheerleaders? Then the new ones? And then they didn't show up, right? I don't know.
I don't even know. I feel like those might be they were actors or something. But it was very weird that it was very creepy carnival, and I was I feel like they're almost building a mood around cheerleading, where it's it's this, I don't know. I feel like they were building a mood. Granted, bad things happen, but bad things happen everywhere in anything.
Yeah.
And they were almost forcing that narrative now that everything that happened with did you watch that documentary Athlete A with the gymnastics?
Oh, I didn't watch it.
No. So it's the where there was a lot of the one doctor was
right.
Doing really bad things to all of the athletes that he treated, and that I feel like they're almost trying to this. I don't know what it was in this season. I kept getting annoyed that they're trying to knock down the industry, even though there are bad things that happen that should be corrected.
Right.
But they're it's almost I don't know, they're trying to take the good out of everything.
Well, I think that they didn't handle the situation. Whoever the higher ups were of cheerleading maybe didn't handle the situation immediately enough.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe was the reason why they did that.
Yeah, that was the point that they were trying to make. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's good to talk about, obviously this topic, you're sending your kid to a team and they're around these adults. I always say that. I'm it's hard to pick a team and then say, okay, I respect this person enough to, be with my child multiple hours a week. What are they really teaching them behind the scenes, whatever. But, so it's good to talk to your child about that. It's just how heavy was it presented, in the show right away. So that's just what my concern was. But it definitely needed to be taken care of, whatever's going on in every situation, cheerleading, gymnastics, every sport, Yeah. There's always going to be bad guys everywhere, right?
Right. It's true. Yeah.
So you have to warn your kids that with any sport you're in. It's just, I don't think they realized what this was going to bring.
Yeah.
The fame and the quickness of the fame. And
so what did you think about the fame part? Monica pursuing the fame part?
Meaning Dancing with the Stars?
Yeah.
Well, I would go on Dancing with the Stars.
Not just that, though.
I think that was for all of them. I was when they were talking about the branding that they did, and they were on Ellen and they met Oprah, and I was oh my God, look at where this got them. I thought it was awesome. But I do agree. I think in one of the episodes, one of the background cheerleaders were she made that comment for for the fame or whatever, and I was just yeah, you know, like, I could see that, and you're taking away from the other kids, you know?
Right. They're like, we're just here.
They're here. They came to be coached by Monica, so, like, that whole, they said that it was a whole fall semester that they weren't coached by her.
Right.
They're coached by this other girl, which is, like, we already saw when you left, and when you gave birth to Alex, that first transition year for the coaches that you put in place.
Right.
And they got so much, like, the team hated them. Not because of who they were, but hated them because they weren't you.
Right.
So that backlash was... It was, like, almost like you're sitting there and you're like, damn, like, this is what they had to go through. You know, you get to sit back and be like, now I feel for them. I mean, back then I was like, it's okay, just, like, you know. But it's also, too, that the seniors that we had, we knew because we were, like, friends with their siblings and stuff. So it was that, I feel like that year was, like, a battle. Like, it was a battle, athletes versus coaches.
Right.
So...
Right.
But
yeah, I mean, I think if she was a fan of Dancing with the Stars and she wasn't doing the thing, she just wanted to have that experience. I always say they should do Dancing with the normal people. I would totally go on. Why does it have to be a star? Like, why can't you, like, transition? Like, oh, here's, like, this person who knows nothing for real, and then, like, you know, that'd be cool.
That'd be fun. Yeah. I think she had a lot of backlash, though, for wanting to have these once-in-a-lifetime experiences. And it's like, yes, you started the show and, like, your message was to just, like, you want to be this awesome, amazing coach, and then you weren't doing that. So it's what, I don't know, like, how should she have handled it?
I do think that she should have showed up.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And supported them, because I think that's hard, right? Like, one of them said, like, it's like losing someone. Like, they were all struggling, and I'm sure she was too. But I think that it would have been a good opportunity for them all to just be together, right? Yeah. And just go through the emotions together. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, because once that happens, I mean, then, and they were saying too, like, the way Gabby Butler, like, didn't, like, say anything. She was like, I'm just, even on the show, she's like, I still have to support him because he was a friend to me when I needed him.
Yeah.
So, like, I thought about that too. I'm like, I couldn't even imagine being in a situation like that where you have to choose to not love this person, because how do you just stop loving somebody that's just, like, second nature to you? Like, you know, like, God forbid, like, if Jen ever killed somebody, am I going to be like, I can't love you anymore because the world tells me I can't? Like, no, I'm still going to love you. Like, how do, you know? Yeah. Navigating that, and then so publicly, I just thought was so much, especially for, and then that too, like, I was nervous for Gabby and, like, the backlash she would receive because she's, like, a well-known name. She has good intentions. I mean, I think we've seen that through her work.
Right.
So it's hard, I think, for her. Like, I was like, I hope she doesn't get backlash for this.
I know.
But that statement in itself was... It was a lot. It was a lot.
Because I didn't even know how I felt about it.
Well, even, like, as a person just watching it, not even knowing him, but you grew to love him because he was such a positive... spirit, but it doesn't that show you, like, behind closed doors somebody can be so different and you don't believe it, but it could be so true, and it's like, wow, that's, you know, that's a lot. But even for us, like, I'm like, oh, but he was so, you know, right? But then you're like, oh, he really, then you heard the kids interviews, so then you were like, wow,
and
that was
another
like,
and then but then they're showing Ladarius's background, right? And they're saying, and then you get to see, he talks about a lot of the things that he went through as a child and how that shaped his defense mechanism and all of those things, right? And those are that's reality. Like, that's what we're dealing with on a daily basis. We're dealing with, even the way you talk to a kid, like, their response is what they've built themselves up to, right? So that was, like, then you don't know what was going, and not to excuse him at all, because I think that's terrible. Like, everything was terrible, you know? But then you're, like, thinking, like, what was going through his head? Like, what was going through, you know? What is...
With the way he reacted?
No, with Jack, yeah. I think with that, it's like, what is... I don't even want to give, like, you know, like, light to a situation that's so terrible, but... You think, like, what is his upbringing? What was his background? What happened to him, too? Like, I feel like I'm like that with everybody, you know? Like, so no matter what, like, and this is another topic that's been talked about a lot, is, like, in America, there's not a lot of rehabilitation for criminals or people who do bad things, right? There's no, like, you just come out and go back into the world, where in, like, other countries like Canada, they have where you could do jail time for a certain amount of years, but then you do, like, a rehabilitation time for many years before you could just go back into society.
Right.
Yeah.
And how it's just different because you don't have that, like, here, where it's like, he's going to go to prison and do his time, but then he's going to come back out, and we don't know that he's not going to do it again, right? Because...
I'm sorry, I can't even. Motivational speaker, I can't even. I was, like, screaming at the TV.
When he wrote
to her in the letter, when I come out, I'm going to be, like, a motivational speaker.
But that mindset is, like, where are you getting that from? Right, exactly. Like, how is that... How are you puzzling that together? That's what... You know?
Well, he probably doesn't... Well, that's another thing I was thinking, like... look how much he's on the show, and he doesn't even know it. Right? Does he know it? Right?
I didn't even like that he was on the show as much as he was. Right. Given the circumstance, because you guys knew that this was going to happen. I don't care that you have all this footage of him. He shouldn't have been on the show so much. You know, like, he was in every single episode leading up to that episode. Yeah. It's like, no. We know he did something bad. We knew eventually it was going to be talked about on the season. Why would you not have cut his camera time? Yeah. I know. You can't just, like, you know, ignore that. That's another thing I feel like they did poorly, too. Because it's like, you're giving light to the situation that it's like, he might get more fame from this. Yeah. Right. From just having him on these episodes. I think he's going to get... Because, I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer and all these other serial killers got more fame while they were in jail. No, realistically. So there's going to be a community out there that supports him. Yeah. So it's like, you're just giving that light, you know?
But he's not going to get what he thinks, what he wants, I don't think. You know, like the type of fame that he probably wanted, or the positive fame. You know?
The way the world thinks now, who knows?
I mean, if people forgive, I guess, if he really has a big apology and changes himself and goes through therapy or something. I don't know how people are going to react.
No, but I'm saying that guy that killed his wife and 2 kids by putting them in the water tank, there's a whole community that wants him out of jail. Oh. That don't think that he didn't kill his wife and his kids, his 2 kids. Great. But that's what I'm saying, you know, like, great. People get, you know, like, it would be so surprising. It's not surprising. I don't think I would be surprised.
But who are these people? And do you really want them on your side?
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like,
that's why I always say, like, when they're like, oh, the people who are writing negative comments and stuff, and I always say, okay, would I do something like that? I think I'm a pretty normal person that could, like, socialize, right? Like, so if I wouldn't do that, I wouldn't want to be friends with the person who's doing that. So who cares what they're saying? Yeah. Sitting in their house, like, you know, writing these negative things. Like, I know people get bothered by it, but, like, no, that person doesn't obviously have, you know, a good brain in their head to be doing that, or, you know, someone that's a good person in society. So why care? Why let that bother you? Right. You know? Right.
The other thing that I thought was pretty cool is, like, just seeing NCA, because I've never been. I always promised Sam I would go, and then she ended up with COVID and stuff, you know, they never, I was like, your senior year, and then they ended up, I think, sending in their video or something. Right. Or I forget what happened, or I had a broken ankle or something this last year.
No, with COVID, they did cancel it, yeah.
But that wasn't her senior year. I think that was her junior. Okay. I think, and then by her senior year, I think I had my broken ankle. So, I think last year, right?
I
don't know either. But yeah, so seeing NCA, what is your, like, have you been to NCA or, like,
to Daytona? Yeah. No, I actually haven't been to any NCA national platform like that. No, but I think it's hard to perform like that, like outside. Yeah. Like, there's so many factors that could be, wind and sun and whatever.
That's why she was, and I was saying that too, like, just watching her tell, like, how's the sun? How does it feel? Like, all that. This is the time of the day you're going to go out, and you used to do that to us too.
Yeah, because it's more like the mental state of the athlete, right? Because then all of a sudden they're going to be like, well, I wasn't prepared for this, so now I can't do it. But, yeah, no, that has to be really hard. I can't believe that they continue to do it out there. I mean, it's cool, right? You have but in, like, any element like that, it's...
When we went to Universal, we didn't realize that it was outside. Yes. Remember? We were, like, so thrown off. And then we were like, oh, my God, we have to have them practice outside. They don't practice outside in this humidity, in this heat. Mm-hmm. And where it was, like, in the arena was humid as hell.
So hot.
Like, we were so scared going into that. But, yeah, I feel like you prepped us for that, too, like, with the weather and stuff. Like, you're like, all right, we're going to find a space to practice on right now, and we're going to do it. We stunted a lot out in the sun. Like, we had them stunt and stuff. So that they would be prepared for it. And even then, like, they were miserable. Oh. Yeah.
Because it's not easy. But that's what you have to do with everything, right? You have a job, you got to prep for what you're going to be doing. Right?
Would you put your kids into cheerleading?
So. Well, I always say,
like. That's the hot question.
I don't think I would be a good cheer mom.
Right, me either.
You know, like, knowing too much from I would think maybe I would, like, have but, like, I would try to tell Mia or Alex, whoever wanted to cheer, like, what they're doing wrong, you know, or, like, try, you know, because I would know, like, this is going to help, but I can't do that because I'm the mom, you know, their coach has to do that. And then to find a coach that I truly respect in the way that they do everything is also very difficult. You know, I always say, I'm like, I hope they just do something that I know nothing about, like soccer or lacrosse, like, something like that, where, like, you know, I'm always coaching, though. Yeah. I had to stop being Dave's coach. That was the thing. He's like, you're not my coach. You're my wife. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Why? What does he play?
No, I just mean in life.
This girl.
Oh, nice.
What does he do? I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, my God. But, like, Alex plays baseball. So, like, I've learned, you know, I watch how they practice or whatever, so then I'll do it with him. Or basketball, same thing. I'm like, okay, I watched your game. Now I know, like, okay, this is what we got to work on.
Yeah.
So then we do it.
You're great.
But again, you have to have that parent-kid boundary where you're like, okay, I can't be too harsh on them. I have to let the coaches do their thing, and then I just got to love my son and then, like, keep him confident, you know, or Mia.
Yeah.
Mia doesn't follow any direction by me. Oh, no. I'm like, girl.
But she's in gymnastics, right?
She's in gymnastics, yes. But I signed her up for like a ninja gymnastics class because she loves to climb and all that kind of stuff.
Cool.
So they do half gymnastics, half like ninja. You know. Like,
so maybe she'll be an American Ninja Warrior.
I hope
right?
so. No, you know what they have by me? They have the trampoline
show.
place, and the owner was like the she was the coach for the United States trampoline for the Olympics.
Oh, cool.
So she's like really good, and oh my god, man, that'd be so cool. I'm like, get into that for sure. So we'll see. But she's young, but she does love it, and she's a perfectionist. Like, she'll like fall off the side, and I'm like, oh, Mia, you did a good job, and she's like, no, and she's like, go and do it straight. I'm like, oh god.
Also, the apple doesn't fall far.
She started doing heel stretches the other day, and I'm like, oh, jeez. But she won't watch cheerleading. I'm like, she'll hear it on my phone. I was watching yesterday, and then she came to look over it, and she's like, oh. And I'm like, oh, you don't like cheerleading? No. I'm like, all right.
Oh, okay, so she's not going to be a cheerleader.
Fine.
I was wondering, like, how would you react, you know?
Yeah, no. I'm good with whatever they want to do, honestly. I think she'll play soccer. We're going to try her in soccer. She likes that, so we'll see.
Nice.
And that I know nothing about, so. I'll figure it out, but we'll see. Yeah. What about you? Do you want your kids to?
I don't know. Like now, ever since I've been watching cheer, Brian will like lift Aria up by her 2 legs. He's like, come on, get ready. You got to get ready for this. And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I would love it.
Yeah.
But then again, like, I feel like the cheer world is probably so different now.
Yeah, and we know too much.
Yeah, we know too
much behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Not that it's a bad, obviously it's not bad, but you learn things through any sport. Any sport has, like, you know, mean coaches, good coaches, whatever, but
there's a lot of good in cheer. I think that's what thankfully we were able to get from it.
Yeah.
There is some bad in cheer. I mean, I don't know if there's anything that I feel like for me that stuck that was bad, but I know for like other kids there were things that I feel like they're going to carry with them from like when I coached that affected them for their lives. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I just have like that mindset that it's going to stick with them forever.
Well, because you always worry. You know what it is? You see all these stories. Oh, my coach, the way that they, whatever. And I'm like, oh, shoot. Like, did I ever say anything that like I maybe didn't mean to come off that way? Or maybe it was a little harsh at the time or something. You know, not that you're like, I wasn't like horrible or saying very mean things or anything, but you never know what someone's going to take away from what you said. Right. You know? And that's why when I said the communication, like, look at in the show how Ladarius was so hurt by Monica not answering at the time, right? Yeah. And where was that coming from? He was mad. He got mad because this was the only figure in his life that was constant, consistent, right? And then all of a sudden she wasn't consistent, so he was pissed, you know? So like, and if he would have just talked to her about it, I guess he couldn't, whatever she wasn't answering, whatever it was, but once they talked, they figured that out, right? Yeah. So that's like keeping communication.
And that's what, because I think someone like me in our group chat, like they were like, oh no, like I don't like him, like blah blah blah. And me and Mariah were like,
we had such a different lens.
Like we had, and it was just like it was a reaction. Was it the right way? No, but he was looking for that, like you know, like that reaction from her. And I just think that, you know, it was like so sad to see like even her husband was like so upset, like, you know, because they really loved him.
Had him like as a family. Yeah, but and that's the other thing with like getting invested in the children. I mean, I know we spoke about this in the past, like, you know, earlier, but there are so many investments that we did make into these kids, and like how. Did you how did you separate yourself from caring too much? Because I feel like you had some really strong relationships. Like, Ashley's an example. Like, you had a very good relationship, and you still have a relationship with Ashley. So, like, but there is a boundary. So it's like, how did you maintain that?
It was hard at times. Sometimes she did, like, sorry, Ash, but...
Sorry, Ash. We love you.
No, not that she did anything bad, but she did get comfortable. So she thought that, like, she could get away with something that maybe somebody else couldn't. But that, you know... she was only in high school, like, she was going to test boundaries, whatever, so it's not a big deal. And it didn't happen often, and it was, you know, we talked about it, again, open, talking about things, and then she understood. So, like, I think that was, like, the person that I was probably the closest with, but I couldn't show it during cheer. Like, that was, like, our outside.
Girl?
I did.
I mean, we all all knew.
Well, maybe you knew, but like, okay, maybe I did something wrong. I don't know.
No, not in a bad way though. I mean, I didn't get offended by it because I was always just like, that was your relationship.
Yeah.
So it was like whatever. I don't feel like but I feel like there could have been people who did get offended by it.
Yeah.
And they definitely was, because when we were coaching, they were like, we know who your favorites are, and it's not that they were our favorites. It's that we had personal relationships with them. Yeah. And there were people who like didn't, like, there were athletes I had no personal relationship with. It was like they didn't want that relationship. They didn't need, not that they were searching for like a mother figure, but they always said they looked at me like their big sister.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's like they didn't need that big sister role. Like they basically, like, it was made up. Oh my God, there's gonna be a lot of shaking on this part. But they almost said like they didn't need that, but there were kids that did need that, and they were like, those are the kids that it's like, I'm sorry, like I don't know how to hide that. I don't know how to not wear my heart on the sleeve with them, because like I know they just had like I know they just had like a terrible day, with their parents. Like I don't, like we were just used to carry that a lot. I feel like that was very heavy.
Yeah. I mean, you try your best, and Dave always told me this: as long as you know that your intention was good, like you always have to think about what your intentions are. Yeah. And if your intentions are good, then you can sleep easy with that.
Yeah. I never disliked a cheerleader or never wanted them to not be on the team. Like, even for the cheerleaders that were not good. Like, I mean, come on. Like, I'm sorry. I'm like, you just weren't good. Like, I wanted them on the team, though. Like, I still wanted them to learn. Yeah. There were just some, like, that just didn't want to learn. Like, they didn't care. They just wanted to be on the mat. Which is, like, that's a disservice to the athletes who are working so hard to perfect their skills and be good every day. Right. Yeah. Not just, like, coming and wanting a place on the mat.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So... yeah, my little tidbit on defending ourselves, because I feel like that's all it was. Our last 2 years were like us defending ourselves.
Yeah.
It was a lot, but
sorry I wasn't there to defend you.
It's all right. But then we had to let it go.
Yeah.
And that was like a chapter for us, and that was fun, and you put us there.
I know. Well, I had faith in you guys.
How did you formulate that all 6 of us would be? Because there were 6 of us, right? When the first year you started coaching?
Yeah.
Yeah, there were 6 of us.
Okay.
It was me, Jen, Leanne, Alexis, Jewel, Kate. Mm-hmm. What did you think?
What did I think?
That was like a really like challenge stunt group. I'll tell you.
Well, here, like, you obviously learned, and I think all of you were so different.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. In a good way, though.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until later on, though.
It was definitely a lot of personalities.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's hard to coach with 6 people anyway, especially when you're all at the same level pretty much, as far as like there isn't like an older person that's saying, okay, this is what's going to happen, you all need to follow. You're all on the same playing field. So I'm sure that was hard for you guys to kind of navigate that and see who's going to step up or be this role and whatever. But like I said, like Alexis was, a good tumbler. Kate was like chill with the girls, or like, like talking to them. And then you were, and I've talked about what your strengths are. And Leanne was like,
mom.
The mom.
Yeah, she was. I mean, I think even when we were coaching, she was the mom.
Who did I miss? 1, 2, 3.
Jewel.
Oh, Jewel. And Juliana, right? She was just like,
yeah. She was the like, from, what's that show, that movie with the people in your head? Like joy and anger and disgust. And what is it called? I don't know.
I forgot, but I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, she's joy. To me, I always I'm like, Jewel's just joy. And she did. She brought so much light.
She like smiled, like the light.
She brought the light.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. That was, I think in the moment, like while we were coaching with everybody, we were like, this ain't working. Like,
it was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. But then I feel like
it took that one night, like where we all went out to dinner and we like broke it. Was it after the season?
Yeah, I think so.
And it was just like,
we stepped back and we were just like, I appreciated the experience so much more, like getting to work with different people and learn from different people.
Mm-hmm. Well, you don't always have to be with people who are exactly like you. You'll never learn anything.
Right.
You learn things from people who are different.
I know. Which is, but in that time I'm like, I mean, I know I was like a know-it-all. I'm like, I know this and you guys don't know this, and I walked around like that.
I don't think so. Was she like that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Thanks, Jen. Yes. Jen was like the humbler. But she would humble all of us. Like she would be like, and then
but it was just like she was, but everyone else had their own personality.
Like I was claiming the spot, I was claiming the spot, and I was like, no, I'm the coach. Like and I didn't leave room for people to take their voice, and then I regretted that going forward, because then I was like, I feel like I did a disservice to the athletes when they could have learned so much from Lex or Kate or Jewel, but I didn't give them the space to do that. So, but I learned that after, and you know, we had our conversations with them, and like, you know, I think I apologize for being such a bitch, but
well, we were so I started young, you guys started young coaching. You're obviously everybody's going to make mistakes, and you know, you did your best. You did your best.
I always say that to Jen. I'm like, we did our best in the time of what we knew. Yeah. You know,
100%, and I think you totally succeeded. I remember watching those videos. I'm like, wow, like where did they come up with that? Or that looks really cool. Like, I thought it was good. I did.
I think it's an honor to have carried like the name, like being a queen bee and like being a bee. Like there was an attitude behind it. So I think I have a tattoo on my back. So
you do?
I have the crown that Dave drew. You didn't know that?
God, no.
Yeah.
You do? Oh my God, you guys are so cute. I have no tattoos. I was always afraid to get one. It's like so permanent, you know?
Yeah. I mean, my grandmother's like a whole drawing board. She had so many tattoos.
Really?
And started getting them after 50. So people are like, well, didn't they sag on her? And I'm like, no, it's already on her saggy skin. So like, not she's saggy, but you know, like it's already on her mature skin. But yeah,
mature skin. That's a nice way to put it.
And my mom's like, it was funny. She was like asking me how to do makeup on her face or whatever, and like she has some spots, so she's maturing a little bit. And she's like, Mariah, what do I do? And I'm like, it's okay. There's like look up mature makeup routines. You'll be fine. And she's like, you know, funny. But, yeah, this was fun though.
It was.
We have a lot of time on this.
You did?
That's good.
Not editing?
No.
Barely.
Raw dog.
You hear everything.
No, yeah. But yeah, so.
Well, I just want to, can I end something with you?
Yeah.
I want to say that I'm just so proud of you guys and the reason why you started this. Like, it wasn't like, I need to have a podcast. Like, you were saying how you were coaching and that was your attitude. Now it's like from such a different, humble place, from a place of like such meaning behind it. I think you guys are reaching people, even if you just reach one person that needs you. You know what I mean? It was all worth it, you know? So I'm just so proud of like everything you're learning, the technology behind it, the lighting, the this, the that. I'm like, oh my God, there's so much that goes into it. So,
thank you so much.
I wish you the best of luck. And if you ever need me for anything,
more episodes.
Just remember your plants. Breathe in the good air.
Yes.
Well, we got us a plant, so we have to put it on the wall, on a shelf on the wall.
Yes.
Yeah. But thank you so much for saying that. Yes, and definitely this week, I don't know, Jen, if you want to share, you got a message this week that.
Yeah, it was just a really nice message. Like you just said, like just hearing that we reached one person, you know, and just like sharing like how our podcast is just like a safe space for them, and just, you know, being able to make those connections with us. And sometimes I think we feel like we're just like rambling, and then we listen to the episode and we're like, did it all make sense? Like, you know, did we say the right things? And just knowing that, you know, we did, and we are reaching someone. And Brian was like, you know, when I was like telling him, I was so emotional, and I was just like, that was just one person, like, you know, out of, you know, and he's like, yeah, but that's one person that spoke up. He's like, you know, so I'm sure that there's other people out there who are, you know, staying quiet, who you reached also. He's like, so, you know, you guys should be proud of like where the podcast is going, and, you know, how many people you're reaching, and maybe there are more people who don't feel alone, and not even in the sense of alone, but just like knowing that there's someone else to relate to, right?
Yes.
And that of things that they're, you know, going through. And just like one thing that the person said that really stuck with me is just like, you guys say things that I think in my head, but don't know how to put into words and say out loud. Yeah. So it's nice to like hear it, because it's like you're in my head, and you know, like we're saying what they want to hear. Yeah. So I think that it really is fulfilling our purpose of this. Yeah. And just, you know, being vulnerable with you guys and just creating that safe space, and that's what we wanted, right? Like that safe community.
Exactly. So, and I think that's why it was important to have you on the podcast too, because I feel like for us, you're a lot of home. So that's like, you know, for us, we have that relationship. Sorry, I'm like getting choked up, I think. But no, for us, it's like, you know, for...
Just don't spill it on yourself.
I know. But for us, it's that, and then being able to have you here and letting other people see how great you are, and like all the things that you instilled into us. So, and having to carry that. So hopefully, if you didn't have a coach like Pauline, because like, trust me, it's a dime a dozen, baby. But if you didn't have a coach like Pauline, then hopefully you got to see her amazing attitude and what we carried from her. Yeah. So, and I think we carry a lot of what you taught us into real life, like into our everyday life.
Even for me, we were saying like someone else is listening for the, you know, just to have a safe space, whatever. But you know, me driving to work, and I'm like, I just need to hear them like laughing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it brings out like, you're like, okay, I'm stressed to go to work, and you're like, all right, this is like, you know, like even the opening gets me every time, and like the laughter afterwards, and I'm like, it's just happy, you know. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
This is fun. Don't forget to do your part.
So don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. Like I said, you know, our alumni Queen Bees comment.
Tap in.
Yes. But we really hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, we have more really good episodes to come.
Yes.
So get ready for February because it's going to get spicy.
And we hope you love us on Instagram because we're annoying.
I know. We've been doing really good with our content as we promised. So, yeah. Anyway, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.